Hello YouTube, this is Juan Garcia. Um, Making another video on the false prophet as a possible identity. Um, so lately I was reading in the news concerning the President Obama, concerning the president, and some news came out about the vice president. Something stupid, really. Just him taking a selfie, Instagram, and keeping it as his profile with the president. Um, I thought that was interesting. Um, but then I read an interesting article about Joe Biden being a possible candidate for the 2016 elections, being a possible candidate for obviously the Democratic Party. Um, when I saw that he might be the candidate for this party, and basically during the interview they were asking kind of President Obama to endorse him, whether or not he endorsed his vice president, and he didn't clearly endorse him, but at the same time he didn't deny his aptitude or his ability to be president. But just the fact that that had never struck me, the possibility that the vice president would run for president, and I thought it really brought an interesting scenario. Now I'm gonna read to you what I wrote down here real quick. So a case for Joe Biden being the false prophet. Joe Biden is very close to the Antichrist, who I believe the Antichrist to be Obama. I wasn't aware of how close the relationship was until I read a bit through the news. On Instagram, his profile image is a selfie with him and Barack Obama. One of the articles that truly caught my attention was the possibility of Joe running for 2016. This would make a lot of sense from a false prophet perspective, as Joe would truly act with all the authority of the beast in its presence. I'm quoting Revelation scripture, if I'm not mistaken, chapter 13. Although if Obama ran for 2016, it would also work. If Obama ran for a third term and changed I don't remember if it's ratified an amendment or changed an amendment in the Constitution, it also worked too, because the vice president is does have the authority of the president in his presence on his behalf. I just think the whole scenario of Joe Biden running for 2016, or the case of him being the false prophet, was something I had not considered ever, and I just wanted to share it with you guys just in case, because I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. Again, God hasn't told me who it is, and it could be Joe Biden, it couldn't be. But I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was important to talk about. Now, another tie-in that strengthens Joe Biden's possibility of being the false prophet is his speech to Supreme Court Justice John Roberts. Joe Biden tells Supreme Court Justice John Roberts he will rule on whether a person's every moment can be tracked by a microscopic tag implanted into a person's body. I think that's very, very interesting, very prophetically significant, that Joe Biden would tell a Supreme Court Justice, a future Supreme Court Justice, that he will rule on whether RFID basically will be allowed or not. He also goes on to say that John Roberts will be ruling on whether brain scans can be used to find out if people are inclined to criminal behavior. A lot like, I don't know if you're watching the movie Minority Report, basically a pre-crime scenario where people could get locked up because they're more inclined into criminal behavior. Sounds crazy, right? But not so crazy, unfortunately. That tie-in is the most significant one, because that would strengthen Joe Biden's position as a false prophet, where he brings upon the mark of the beast. And he obviously, from that last statement, we can see that he's more than all right with RFID technology and implanting things into people. Alright, another important time is April 3rd, or April 5th, 2013. That's when Joe Biden stood in front of 1,000 financial leaders, bankers, hedge fund managers, and basically talked about restructuring the global market and strengthening it. He also talked about the New World Order. He said this in the Import-Export Bank meeting. Hopefully I'll be able to post a link in the description. But from the information I said, you could probably, I'm not 100% sure, you could Google search it and find information relating to it. Okay. So Joe Biden during this meeting calls for the restructuring of the global market, saying the system needs to be strengthened. He mentions this as the New World Order. He mentioned this in front of 1,000 financial leaders such as bankers, investors, hedge fund managers, the global elitists of the world. Okay. I think I will have time to mention this last time. So basically, Joe Biden is talking about changing the market system. First of all, it shows, a lot of strength Biden has. Second of all, it shows the agenda that the president has, because the vice president is always following the president's agenda. And third of all, this is also, I think, prophetically important because we know the false prophet institutes an economic system, a world economic system, through where no one can buy or sell without the mark. And as I showed you previously, Joe Biden is very, I would say, I'd go as far to say as a proponent of RFID technology. Okay. Now this last time is really interesting as well. And I got this from the New American. That's the website I got this information from. This isn't the first time, this isn't the first time Joe Biden mentions the New World Order. On April 23rd, 1992, Biden penned a piece for the Wall Street Journal. He wrote an article for the Wall Street Journal entitled, "How I Learned to Love the New World Order," in which he extolled collective security. And I think this is extremely important to stop here and say collective security, because when Paul talks about, they mention peace and safety, then utter destruction cometh. There's going to be a false sense of peace, not just through the covenant with many, which is prophesied in Daniel 9:27, but overall just a false peace in the world through through a world government that promises, its global citizens prosperity and peace. So he extols collective security through the United Nations and called for a permanent commitment of forces for use by the Security Council of the United Nations. Another important quote from his article is, "Why not breathe life into the United Nations Charter?" Biden asked in his journal piece. So not only do we have, Biden being a proponent of RFID technology, talking about brain scans for pre-crime capabilities. And remember, this is not only will they scan you for inclination to criminal activities, your inclination can change by how they define criminal activity. Also, we have Joe Biden in front of tons and tons of bankers saying that he needs to restructure the global market. He wants to restructure the global market. We have Biden saying that he loves how he came to love the New World Order, mentioning specifically the United Nations as the international body to fulfill the New World Order, and moreover than the New World Order, a global governance, a collective security. I'm running out of time, but the last thing I want to mention is when he says, "Why not breathe life into the United Nations Charter?" I've always thought the image of the beast to be an actual image, but I'll throw this out there just in case. I really doubt it. The United Nations is the image of the beast, but just in case, I guess if you guys want to read into that, look into that, and let me know. But I don't think it is the image of the beast, but I think all these things that Biden's been saying really make us consider that he might be the false prophet. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. Have a good Sabbath day. Take care.